a member of the podcast community as well, because today his very own podcast is being released. Is he there?
I'm here.
Eric? Ah, there he is. Okay, I didn't see you. Sorry, I didn't see you. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for coming. Congrats on a crazy weekend, but also congrats on your podcast being released. As of right this second, live, here we are at 3 o'clock Eastern. We're showing the picture for it, the Art Verse Us, it's called, with Eric Nicksick. Is it out right now?
Yeah, Randy's working on it right now. He's getting everything out, but just what the world needed, another podcast. So
that's right. Hey, you couldn't have scripted this any better after a crazy weekend to come out with a podcast.
Yeah, man. This is all kind of new to me, but obviously with Randy and Markel behind me and kind of helping me lead the way on some of this stuff. So, but it's been cool, man. We've had almost 17 years in this industry now, and a lot of cool stories, and moreover, just the backstories and the relationships that we've forged over the years. So I think it's kind of be a fun podcast, for the fans and be able to hear some of the behind the scenes stuff.
For sure. I think it's brilliant. And you have the personality for it, the experience for it, the relationships. And so what is the format?
Honestly, God, like Randy and I just we'll chop it up, but I'll bring a guest on and we'll, my first guest was Dan Ige.
Oh my God.
But now we're going to have to go back and redo it because this was before everything.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. So what we were doing was we were kind of taking a fight or two and just actually talking about the camp and then the fight itself. And then not necessarily X's and O's, but just more of the behind the scenes that a lot of fans aren't predicated to. So we were just kind of make it more about the journey, the process of the 8-week camp, or maybe some stories behind it and everything else. So now we're going to have to reshoot the Dan Ige one for sure.
You've learned a valuable lesson. Me being the podcast veteran, you being the rookie, it's the only time I could call you a rookie in something. Pre-tapes are a bitch, man. Pre-tapes are a bitch. Yeah. That's why I do this show live, because 30 minutes from now, after we're done, something will break and this will be outdated, let alone something that you taped a week ago. It gives you great stress. So that's a good lesson.
Well, you're the GOAT, man. So we're always learning from you on this stuff anyway, my brother. So it's always good to have you as a resource.
Thank you. And happy to help with anything. And congratulations on launching this. And congratulations on another crazy week for you. And so could I ask, you're at PFL on Friday in Sioux Falls, right?
Yeah.
What time do you land in Las Vegas?
So, man, yeah, honestly, I'll go back to last Saturday.
Okay, let's go back. Tell us everything.
So I get a call from Anthony Smith last Saturday, and he's like, hey, I'm fighting Roman Dolidze. And I'm like, what? I had no idea. And I hear from Anthony, and he's like, yeah, man. Basically he wrote me, he's like, damn, not even a phone call or heads up. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm fighting Roman. I was like, bro, Roman's in Georgia. I haven't talked to him in we've talked, but haven't talked any specifics. And so I heard the news from Anthony that Roman was fighting next week. And I'm like, I had shoulder surgery on Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Saturday, Anthony tells me Roman's fighting, that he's fighting Roman. Sunday, I have basically to sit down with Roman because he flies in and go over somewhat of a game plan. I have surgery Monday. Tuesday, then I fly out for Sioux Falls on Wednesday. That's kind of how the week started.
Wow. Wait, and so Anthony was telling you this because you have a relationship with him?
Yeah, I consider Anthony a very good friend of mine and a colleague, and I think, and Anthony was joking. He wasn't upset about anything. He just damn, did you know about this? I'm like, brother, I didn't know a thing. I didn't even know. So it was funny because I didn't even reach out to Roman. I was going to wait to hear from him. And because it wasn't a sure deal yet. And Roman just wrote me, hey, I'll see you in a few hours. We got to fight. Didn't even tell me who it was. And I was like, okay, so it is what it is. And these things, as you know, bro, move so fast. And if you don't give a yes or no answer, if he's waiting to get the okay from his coach, he's on Georgia time, right? We're time zones away from each other. I might have been sleeping. So if Hunter, that phone rings and you need an answer now, you got to make a chief decision, bro. And it's not going to be predicated on the coach. It's going to be your call at that moment. So it is what it is, man. So when we got the call, hey, you got to take the fight. We got to take the fight.
Awkward for you when you're cornering a guy against a friend of yours?
I mean, yes and no. We have a job. We have a duty. We know getting into this business that you're going to forge these relationships and friendships. I hate to use this term and I don't want to sound cold, but either run with us or run from us.
Mm.
It is what it is. Like he's not in the gym. He's not our teammate. I have a duty to Roman. I have a job to do, and that's that. I've never cornered Anthony. I've never been his coach. We're only colleagues and friends, but I do value his friendship and I do value that relationship. But at the end of the day, man, I have a job as Roman's coach. I've been his coach for a number of years now, so I had to do my job.
Okay, and so you get the surgery, all good. By the way, what happened?
They just did a full cleanup. So Dr. Yi took, just went in there and cleaned up all that, and then manipulation under anesthesia. So he said he just basically broke my arm, kind of set it back into place. Yeah.
Did you get hurt, or was it just like a buildup of?
Buildup of holding pads over the years for guys like Francis and Puna and everybody else,
right.
And Dan Ige. But a lot of just chronic effect on there, and finally I needed to get this done. I couldn't throw a football to my son, and it was bothering me that I couldn't do certain things. I can't train, I can't lift. There's not a lot of things I can do. So it just got to the point there's no off season for me. So I was like, dude, I got to take a sacrifice and time for myself. This was the least invasive procedure that I could have done. I mean, obviously I'm moving around okay. I was supposed to take it easy for a couple of days, but it is what it is,
Okay, so then you go to Sioux Falls and you have Kai Kamaka on that card, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I saw the shiner, by the way, from the video that you posted, which is great stuff. And so that's that. And then you come home at what time on Saturday?
So we had a 4:30 wake up to get to the airport, 4:30 South Dakota time. I landed in Las Vegas at 9 a.m. our time.
Okay.
So I had literally no sleep.
So you were supposed to be in T-Mobile for Roman Dolidze, right? You were always planning on being there. What
Yes,
time
sir.
were you supposed to go to the arena?
So I was going to meet Roman at his house at 5:30.
5:30. Okay, and then you were going to go together.
Yes.
At what point do you get a call, and who calls you about this potential Dan Ige filling in for Brian Ortega fight against Diego Lopez?
4:22 from Dan.
He calls
you. So he calls me. So I take my son and my wife to lunch. The first time I seen them in like a week. And being hot here in Vegas, like Annie has a brand new car. We had a jumper car. It was a pain in the ass. Dan's calling me. I had the hood open. It's 112 degrees outside. And I'm like, call you right back, dude. And he's like, now, call me now. And I was like, oh, boom. Answer the phone. He goes, hey, we're fighting in a few hours. And I was like, okay. I didn't even ask who. I didn't say anything. I was like, you got it. And I hang up the phone. Jeff Mullen calls me like literally a minute after and says, hey, bro, I need your honest to God opinion on this. Is your fighter ready to fight? Is this even realistically possible? And I said, Jeff, I say this wholeheartedly. Dan Ige is like a son to me. I would never put him in a situation where I felt like he was in danger. I said, this kid, and this isn't me just hyping him up. He trains like this daily. He fantasizes about moments like this opportunity. Like he'll come to me with like, oh, hey, there's 4 featherweight fights on this card. He'll write me this. And he'll be like, just in case, look at these 4 guys, because if somebody falls out. He does this all the time, Ariel. I'm not joking. And he's on the cutting edge of always being that phone rings. He's able to answer that call. And so when he did, this wasn't like, yo, coach, what do you think? This is, hey, meet me in 30 minutes. Go grab my cup. That's what he said. Run to the gym and grab my cup. I was like, cool. I'll grab your cup. I'll see you at the house.
What? And there's no part of you that's like, hey, can we talk this out? Are you feeling good? Is this, there's none of that.
Hell no, bro. I was goosebumps. I looked at my wife. I said, this is what fucking legends are made of. I said, moments like this. And I was so hyped. And my wife, and she's always the one like, yo, you got, and I was like, I had that moment where I was like, dude, I had tears in my eyes. I was so happy because every moment that I've been through with that kid, that was our 20th pro fight together.
Wow.
Like no one understands what it's like to be on the regional scene, to grind to this opportunity. All of those moments, all of those memories just went through my mind just like that. There's a famous picture of him laying on the ground after the Contender Series and me holding him and hugging him. Like that moment went through my head instantly. It just the fucking clawing. and the scratching and the heartbreak and the tears and the blood and everything that this kid culminates to in this moment. Like it all went through my head in that second, Ariel. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this is this kid's moment. And then I got in the car and I said to him, I said, bro, what you're doing is legendary, but that the legendary doesn't stop with you taking this fight. We need to go win this motherfucker. Let's not just go there and just weigh in and just partake. Let's go try to take this motherfucker out and go get this win. And he goes, yeah, man, you got it. Let's do this. So there wasn't a lot of game planning, obviously. You don't have much time for it. We're smart enough to have that in the back of our head that Diego Lopez was in striking distance of us. What we'll do in the off season, meaning when Dan's out of camp, Dan will call me and we'll take a name out of the top 15 and we'll game plan that Sunday night, a small little amount of game planning, and we'll apply it for a Monday practice just to have it in our head. And I'll have my notes, he'll have his notes, and we'll go and we'll run a practice on Monday morning at 10 a.m. of what you would do if you fought so-and-so that's ranked in the top 15. Here's what our game plan would be. I hand to God, this is the shit we prepare for.
That's crazy. And for moments like this, and just to be clear, because the story that we were told was he was getting a massage when he got the call.
Yeah, he's getting a massage, and then he got his happy ending.
Yeah, well put. So okay, so you get the call, you go to the gym, you get the cup, then you go to his house. When you see him, now, what is that moment like?
Yeah, man, it was pretty surreal. Like we both kind of had to calm ourselves down a little bit, you know. When I was in the car, I called Eddie Baracco, who's my fucking man, like just my guy. And I was like, yo, I need you to get eyes on right now. Watch tape on Diego. Send me over whatever notes you have. I got a 15-minute drive to Dan's house. By the time I walked into Dan's door, Eddie had me a list of notes like this.
Wow.
And I sat down with Dan. We plugged on the tape. I reviewed Eddie's notes. We watched what Eddie was seeing because we trust his eye. And then we started to apply some of our concepts and theories on the situation just to have a little bit of a baseline layer of understanding what we had coming at us. Everything stayed professional, bro. Like we knew time was of the essence. So, we celebrated for half a second. That was it. And it was like, all right, back to game plan. And even credit to Dan's wife, like Savannah, dude, she was ice cold. Like she wasn't like, oh, what are you guys doing? Or like no panic whatsoever. She's like, this is just a typical Saturday for these two idiots right here.
This is crazy. And yeah. when you're going through all of this, is he expressing nerves, fear? Is he expressing doubt? Nothing.
Nada, man. Like, honest to God, this is really comes. I feel like it stems from his old man, and his dad being a Navy SEAL and just being ready on call for whatever comes his way. But that's only to the level of your training and only to the level of your preparation. If you don't prepare like this, or you don't train like this, or have the mindset for something like this, that's when panic ensues. But this guy does this every day. Like this is how he trains. This is how he lives his lifestyle. And, we have to give credit to his dad and the way he brought him up and what he was able to see from a male role model and a father figure in his old man, who's a Master Chief in the Navy SEAls.
And so at what point do you get told that this is 100%?
I mean, honestly, we really didn't. We were hearing so many things back and forth. I just wrote Hunter. I don't even know what I wrote Hunter, to be honest with you. And he's like, yo, it's still not 100%. So, but be ready to go. He said, whatever I said to Jeff Mullen solidified the deal. He said, Jeff believed in what you were saying to him. He's okay signing off on this. And then it had to go up to the governor. The governor had to sign off on this. This is unprecedented. So we knew that we had to weigh in. You have to weigh in. There has to be some sort of agreement. And they asked Diego what his weight was, and I think he was 161 and Dan was 164. So that they both weighed in. We showed up to the arena. They walked us in the back. We saw Dana and Hunter and then Mr. Ratner, and they threw Dan on a scale. Jeff Mullen was there, 164. Boom, signed a contract. Walked in the back, piss test, and then it was business as usual.
Damn. And so you also have to get Roman prepared, who's fighting right before, right? He was the third fight on the main card, and Dan was the fourth. And so I'm sure there's a part of you that, with all due respect to Roman, this is such an unprecedented thing. You kind of wanted to be with Dan. Were you in the same locker room? Were you able to look at both guys? How did that work?
Yeah, every detail was taken care of. You know, I'm very detail oriented, but without the help of like Ali and a few other individuals, like, you know, Heidi Dean and, you know, personnel behind the scenes, right away, like, and Roman's professionalism. Like I told Roman, hey, I'm supposed to meet you at your house, but now I got to go grab a cup and go to Dan's. And Roman's like, see you soon, coach. This is unbelievable. So everybody was on board, and it took a village, man. Like I had Checo, I had Crew on, I had all these guys that were understood the situation, and everybody was delegating the responsibility that they needed to make sure everyone was taken care of. You know, called Kai Kamaka, and I go, yo, meet me on the corner of Silverado Ranch and Las Vegas Boulevard in 30 minutes. And he goes, didn't ask a question. He goes, what do I need to bring? I said, bring your gear. And he goes, no problem. Hangs up the phone and then shoots me a text. What's going on? I go, can't talk. See you in 30. Meet me at the Shell station on the corner. That's how it went down. Picked up the phone, called Sean Strickland. I go, where are you at? He goes, I'm at lunch. I go, meet me at the arena in an hour. Dan's fighting. He goes, I'll be on my motorbike. Make sure they let me in through security. Said, bet. Hung up the phone. That's how it went down, bro.
That's crazy. You live for this shit, right?
Crazy.
Like this is some
fucking live for this shit, man. Fucking live for shit. If you turn this shit down, like if you're like, yo, I can't do this, you're missing out on some of the best memories you're ever gonna be able to tell your grandkids.
And so you're there. Roman wins, and then I see the footage. You run right to the back right after.
Yeah, of course I went the wrong way.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, no.
Yeah. If you see me in a grocery store line, get in the other line. Don't, because I'm in the wrong line. But yeah, so Roman wins. I take a quick pick of Roman. I run out the cage. I look at some of the blue shirts UFC guys. Said, "Where's my boy?" They're like, "That way, go run." So I hauled ass in the back, and then Dan was about to, down my shirt, and he goes, "Hey, Papa." Like, let's go. And I was like, let's go, bro. Threw the shirt on and changed the hat and walked out.
You've had some, gigantic fights that you've been a part of, that you've coached, that you've won. But that walkout with this dude who was getting a massage 3 hours prior or so, about to fight in the co-main event. Can you describe what's going on in your mind, what you're feeling? This is a guy you've been with 20 fights. His photo's right behind you. You love him like a brother, like a son. What is going on in your mind as you're walking him out to battle?
There's spots of where, like, I told Dan, I wanted him to take in the moment, the sights, the smells, enjoy the walk, because, bro, this is unprecedented. And I want you to really ingrain it in your mind, so you have something to be able to tell Bam when he's older, and that walk is sacred. Some guys are staying focused, and some guys are this and some guys are that. And I was like, credit to Micah, our sports guy over at the UFC PI. Like, he talks about these kind of things about holding the balloon, and it's like, just focus on seeing some of the details and look at some of the faces and some of the crowd and the fans and everything else, and enjoy this moment, bro. That walk is yours. Own it. And then once we get in the pit, when you get the Vaseline on, then then we refocus on the task at hand. And then for me, man, I just sat back and just kind of just took it all in as well, and just watching my boy walk. And it was an amazing feeling. I usually stay last in that. And I had Strickland and Kai in front of me, and I just watched the whole scene and everybody's faces as he walked, and really enjoyed the moment, man. It was an amazing feeling just to see my guy go out there and do what he was doing.
It was incredible, and incredible how he was owning the moment as well. And maybe you disagree with me, but I kind of view Dan as, he's soft-spoken. He's not braggadocious. He doesn't puff his chest out. He's a tough SOB, but, not someone who likes to draw attention to himself. Him walking in there, the black shirt, the chain, entering the arena, like, it was really cool to see him have that moment and own it. Like, it just felt like it was gangster stuff. It really was. And the walkout was great. Everything was great about it. You watched the first round. What are you thinking? What is your assessment of what your guy is doing in that first round?
Oh, just catching reads. I was thinking about, like, Coach Giff is usually in our corner. What would Coach Giff adjustments he would make? What reads I'm getting? Listening to Kai, listening to Sean, and then I kind of cracked a joke at him as we walked in, just to kind of lighten the mood. That's something I'll usually do with Dan. But we had our reads. We had a pretty good idea of what I think we could have done. And that round 2 came out, we were much cleaner, and I made a mistake, man. Like, well, I say I made a mistake. We work on things behind the scenes, and one of those things was the same side head kick, and something that I know that they weren't going to be able to know that we had in our arsenal, something that we worked on for a bunch in other camps that we never shown in a fight. So when Dan went southpaw, I screamed at him. I was like, yo, same side high. And bro, he set it up beautifully. And that shin bone landed right on Diego's forehead. And credit to Diego, man. He's one tough dude because he ate that head kick. But unfortunately, Dan got taken down from it. And I was like, oh my God. I looked over at Kai and I was like, I just fucked us, man. And Kai's like, no, we're all right. We're in this fight. And I was like, my heart sunk because I really felt bad. I put my guy in a bad position. But in my head, I needed something. I needed to get the band playing, as my dad would say in football. Like, you got to get the band playing. And like just something that his kids worked on so well. And I was like, okay, this is our opportunity. And like just the movie scene like flashed in my head of like same side high and shit. It landed, but it took him off his feet, man. And I was pretty bummed about that situation. And I said that to him going into round 3. Somebody asked why did I say my bad, and that was why. I was like, oh, my bad, bro. I called same side high. He's like, hey, it landed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck. So, and then, we knew round 3, we needed to get a finish. And that was our reads, bro. Like, hey, we're playing with house money. We didn't come here just to take this fight. We came here to win this fight. So let's go out here and give them everything we got. So that's what we saw in round 3.
I know like moral victories are a weird thing, but considering the short notice of it all, and then how he looked in the 3rd round, like he didn't just, just kind of glide his way to a decision. He freaking won that round. That must make you extremely proud.
100%, because like there's been fights even with the Korean Zombie. I remember telling Dan going into round 5, I said, look, I understand that we need to finish, but I want to have something to build off of. I want to have some momentum to build off of for next time around. A little bit of pride. We're going to fight this next round with a little bit of pride. And from a football perspective, sometimes you be getting beat. It's 42-0. And you just want to have some small victories in that 4th quarter so you have something to build off of for the next week of practice and the next game. That was kind of my mentality for the Korean Zombie fight, not for this fight. This fight in particular, I was like, yo, we can win this fight. I promise you. We can win this fight. And that's why you saw Dan come out in the round 3 and really give he made it freaking close. So yeah, it definitely gives us something to build off of, Ariel, but really the momentum of understanding like, hey, if we ever fight again, here's some things that we know we can implement and how we can be better.
What was he like in the locker room afterwards? How was he handling it? How was he digesting it? Was he proud? Was he happy? Was he disappointed?
Yeah, no, he was proud, man. That picture, like me and him, like hugging, dude, getting teary eyed. But that was a great moment, bro. I was so happy for him. And then, credit to Diego Lopez, dude. This guy didn't have to take this fight.
Yeah.
And he really had all the risk. It really had all the risk, to be honest with you, because here's a kid who took the Ortega fight on short notice, prepared a certain way, cut the weight to 145, then had to rehydrate. The roller coaster that poor kid was on. So, I mean, credit to both of these guys because we needed both of them to say yes, to have this opportunity at this. And, the UFC took care of him. So this is life-changing money for him. It was a life-changing moment. We don't think about things monetarily. Yes, the money is always going to help the situation, but he capitalized on an opportunity to really put his name in the everyday household lives of MMA fans. If you didn't know who 50K Ige was, you sure as hell do know now.
And so he was supposed to fight July 20th. Do you think he'll still fight on July 20th?
No.
Okay.
We were kind of joking around like, yeah, maybe, but it doesn't make sense for him to fight right now. Like he's limping around. He's in the gym today. He's actually here. So he's limping around the gym right now. And sometimes you do have to step in as a coach and be like, yo, all right, we're going to take some time off. Dana walked in the cage and Dana looked at me. He's like, if he wants to fight on the 20th, you can't. I just started giggling. I was like, let's see how he holds up after this. We'll see.
So it seems like they'll give him the Sphere card though, as a nice little thank you.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's what they said. And, I think that as repaying Dan, that's something Dan should definitely capitalize on, a fight like that of that magnitude. Absolutely.
How do you think that fight goes with a full training camp, him versus Diego Lopez?
I don't know, because neither of them had that opportunity to game plan, right? Like, I really don't. I obviously I favor my guide, knowing that we have some things that we can build off of, and we can show some different wrinkles with more of a game plan and understanding what we saw in that fight. But same goes for them. They get more time to prepare and understand what they did really well in this fight, and they won. So I definitely think a 5-rounder favors us, but you have to take in consideration this poor kid cut the weight, and a lot of people don't understand this part. The weight cut is very difficult. The rehydration is also very, very tricky process. You can mess that up just as bad as the rehydration part. That can get you even sicker than cutting the weight if you calculate that wrong. So a lot of credit goes behind the scenes to Diego's team and getting him rehydrated properly and taking care of him so that he can show up and perform the way that he did as well.
Yeah, and perhaps that's what happened to Brian Ortega, because his cut was bad, and then I heard he got very sick afterwards as well. So it's a whole tricky science. Another great weekend for you and the team. Could I ask you, Eric, before you go, and you don't have to divulge too much, but I did see you with Francis recently, and I know he's been through unimaginable pain. Could you tell us just how he's doing? You know, how he's feeling? I can't imagine him. He's doing well, and I know that it's probably great to train and to put on a smile, but he still has to be in so much pain inside. How is the big man doing?
Yeah, he's healing. That's the best I can say is he's healing, and you're seeing the smile back on his face. You're seeing the banter. You know, he's back in the gym talking trash to Strickland and everybody around the room, you know, and that's the most important thing. But all the while, you know that there's a lot of healing going on inside. And every once in a while, he'll have that moment where a vulnerability, like, you know, he looked at me at dinner last week and he was like, this one's for Kobe. This next one's for Kobe. And that shit hit me. And I was like, fuck, whoever you're fighting next, bro, God bless him. Because if this war we're fighting for, you know, this man's going to be dialed in. And, you know, it was just nice to have him home. It was nice to give him a hug and not even have to really say much, and then just be there next to him and let him talk and let him vent. You know, we cried, we hugged, we laughed. You know, and those are the moments you have when you have a brother like him. So, you know, happy to have him home.
And do you think we'll see him this year fight again?
I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I hope so. I hope so, because I think keeping him busy has been the best thing for him. Is helped him a lot. But again, you know, no parent should ever have to go through with what he went through, and only time will tell and time will heal. And I hope that, just because I want to see him compete again with this on him, like I want him to be able to find a purpose in competing again. But whatever he decides to do, I'm going to have his back 110%.
It was nice to just see him there with you and Dewey, like just to see him back in that element. Not because I feel like he needs to fight anytime soon or anything like that, but it's, I don't know, maybe it felt like a step towards healing. I don't know if you ever heal, to be honest, and I can't imagine how he's feeling, but the photo put a smile on my face. And your hair looks fantastic, by the way. I just want to say, it's looking
great.
I
mean, me and Joe Piper.
Yeah, look at you guys.
Come on, Joe.
I love it. I love it.
Head out to Turkey, hair time. There's your
plug. Congrats on the podcast launch. Congrats on the Kamaka win. Congrats on the Roman win. Congrats on Dan Ige putting his name in the history books. Never happened before in the UFC. I kept talking about it. People were like, well, Joe Soto stepped up. Like, nope, Joe Soto weighed in the day before. He was scheduled to compete on that card at 177. And the Taffa brothers, this has never happened before in the history of the UFC, what he did. So well done.
Thank you, brother. You know, it's one of those things, I think, where when you break those barriers and you're able to see that it's possible, you know, more people will take up that opportunity and know that, like, hey, if Danny Ige did it, I can do it. He's the Roger Bannister of MMA. You know, he broke the 4-minute mile.
Well done. Well done. Thank you so much, Eric. Congrats, and appreciate the time as always, my man.
My pleasure, man. Great to always talk to you, Eric, my boy.
Same here. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You can get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.